And especially. Should I start over?
Yeah, make sure you, if you're gonna say something good about me, let's
Yeah.
make sure it's recorded.
Want to say thanks to all of the Rotarians and especially Jim for a fantastic event this past weekend with John McGivern. And so, Jim, if you want to give us an update on that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was extremely well received by anybody that was there. I mean, John was as usual entertaining self, and who knew he could play the guitar and sing a bit as well. So he mixed that in there. So in total, we had about 950 tickets sold, which is more than capacity, but of course it was over two shows. The 2 o'clock show had about 200 people more than the 7 o'clock. And as John McGivern joked, we'll get you out of here so you can get home before dark, which the audience members, probably a lot of them appreciated that. But John was gracious. It was great to have him there all day and get to interact with him. As far as how it worked out as a fundraiser, I reported to the board last night that it looks like we're going to be around $22,500 to the good after expenses and such. As usual, the Performing Arts Center staff, Cole and Tony there were awesome, very helpful to John with the technology, as well as to us to put that on. And the custodians were there. As soon as we got there, they're like, "There's no towels in the ladies' bathroom." So they had to call a custodian or whatever, but it worked out well. So great event. Thanks for those that came out and checked tickets and worked welcoming and things like that. But certainly from a manpower standpoint to fundraiser, it's a great event. We're going to try to continue to plan. We have kids from Wisconsin in July. We're already starting to look at sponsors for that, and then potential future shows. Although not every potential show has the potential profit ratio that a John McGivern show has. So we got to make sure that we do a show that it's not going to be a money losing effort, because we're not into paying thousands of dollars to entertain the community. We'd like to, of course, at least break even, if not do more. So anyway, and John McGivern said during his performance that his producer's trying to get him to do his TV show for another 3 years or so. So I kind of already got him verbally committed to come back in 2-3 years, maybe just for a matinee or something like that, to do one more show in McGonigo. So
That'd be great.
We'll see.
Yeah, and thanks, Rick, also for sponsoring the intermission.
Did you see you got applause on the first show? Were you there?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you got applause the first show.
Oh, that was my wife.
I said DBI, as you go, he's like laughing.
Good stuff.
That's what money buys.
Looking for some ideas for grant 2025. So we're finishing up the grant for 2024 with the addiction awareness that Ken has been leading. And now it's time to start planning for 2025. So if anyone has a grant idea, we'd be happy to listen and investigate and dive into that. So let us know, and we'll explore. Okay. Upcoming speakers next week, Pro Health. Cassie will be here. She's going to talk about remote patient monitoring. And the following week, instead of the third Thursday of the month, we'll have the second Thursday of the month. Section Elementary will have the educator of the month, and then Citizens Bank follows that. Any other business items? If not,
I'll say that we got the district conference coming up, and we got a good representation from our club, but offers still out there to subsidize a day or 2 days right here in Brookfield. Right now, there's about 6 of us from the club who are going to attend at least one day. So that's relative to the size of our club. We can be proud of our participation at this point.
great. And Jerry, oh, there you are, Jerry. Could we do Happy Finds quick? And then we'll get Tom up here.
Okay. By the way, I heard from Dennis Mullins, he's loving the weather and not the traffic, but they're having a good time down there.
I'm happy that the John McGivern show is over, as is my wife, because she's done seeing John McGivern and hearing about John McGivern. And getting calls at 9 o'clock at night when we're in the middle of our show for me to buy it. It's the answer to the ticket question, yeah.
Anybody else who was wondering? All right, let's see here. How about Tom? You're our guest today. All right, 4 tickets.
We have 050.
Ooh, right after me.
Right here.
All right.
Great.
Get up.
Look at there.
Sorry, Tommy.
Some juice.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. Yeah. All right, Joe, are you gonna introduce Tom? That would be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't worked with him long enough yet to have too many negative things. So it's my pleasure to introduce our CFO, school district CFO, Tom Karthausser. He's been with us now for 10 years, and among Tom's many areas of focus, he's helped. So we had the MHS referendum. Tom really helped through the COVID time with the financing plan on that. His work around budget has helped us get teacher salaries aligned with our neighboring comps. His work around taxes every year, he has brought the tax rate down, the school district's burden in taxes. He's been very, very, very mindful of that. He was a huge key instrumental person as we worked to pass the middle school referendum. But one of the areas that, really doesn't get a whole lot of popularity, a whole lot of publicity is like the work that he's done around health insurance. And so Tom has found a way to be a bit of a disruptor in the realm of health insurance, particularly for school districts. And he, along with the group that he works with, has really found a way to create I would say, kind of an a la carte health plan. It's got many key features for our school district. It has kept the costs way down, and Tom will get into the details a little bit around that. But this health insurance work that he has done, the plan that he has put together for our employees, has been remarkable. And then the attention that he has paid to it. If there's a feature of that health plan that hasn't worked, Tom and the team have really done a great job of trying to address that for our staff. So he'll be able to get into all the details of it, but we are very fortunate as a school district to have Tom. In spite of everything that Sean says about him, he does do a pretty good
All
right.
Sean never said anything bad about me in a while. I haven't heard, if he said I haven't heard it.
Let's just say you weren't the reason why you retired.
Alright. So I mean, as we pull up the presentation here, as I talk about like our transformation and what we've done, the plan that we're ultimately utilizing today is something I was aware of 3 to 4 years ago. And then as I learned more about it, I was just naturally skeptical. And then I became curious, and then it became a point in time where our costs were getting so high, it's like, well, what do we have to lose by making changes? And Sean, I actually remember saying, I'm not sure that we should do this, and you call me some names and stop being afraid, Tom, and just do it. And we did it. And so I appreciate that, Sean. So you haven't called me a name since then, though, as far as I know. Okay, so here we go into, I'm gonna spend a couple of slides just talking about healthcare, kind of state of the union nationally and in Wisconsin. When we take a look at the United States compared to other industrialized modern countries, this is a dated chart here that goes back to 1617, but the United States then and now is we spend the most in healthcare per capita, relative to the rest of the world. So we spend a lot of money here. And it's not even really like we're just barely in first place. We're in first place, and I'm not sure we necessarily want to be in first place when it comes to this metric. We spend a lot on healthcare.
It means doctors are very good clients of ours.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. In the state of Wisconsin in particular, for whatever the reason is, I don't have an explanation behind this, but Wisconsin is particularly expensive relative to the other states in the United States of America. So Alaska, Minnesota, Wisconsin, by this metric are top 3. So it's a challenge. In other words, when you have 700 employees in a school district and 500 of them or so are offered healthcare, that becomes a major challenge. When you take a look at GDP in the United States of America, going back to 1970 forward, GDP was about 7% in 1970, and it's upwards around 20%. So our economy has really grown around healthcare. So it's obviously, I'm probably saying things that we're all somewhat aware of, maybe not these metrics exactly, but some of the things that we deal with here when we purchase healthcare from a large health carrier is just the discrepancy in cost. Healthcare is one thing where, when you go to a grocery store, you order something from the menu here, you know what you're buying and you know how much it is. When you access healthcare in many instances, you don't know what the cost of it is. Yeah, and in some instances, you might not even be sure of the quality of the physician. Have you seen the report card? Is there really any type of information you can access to get that? So you can just see in a couple of shoppable services, the discrepancy, and these are prices that came from Wisconsin, that highlight, some major differences here. So, when we take, this slide's a little hard to see, and I apologize for that, but you can see the United States of America on this x-axis here is cost. And then on the y-axis is life expectancy. So despite spending as much as we do, other industrialized countries are getting more life expectancy than we are. And despite, all the expenses we pay, we're just moving in this direction, which means paying more. And not, and it's just, where's the result, right? We would expect that we would be able to grow that life expectancy. So those are some of the challenges. In a traditional healthcare sense, there's, when you purchase, and I'll spend some time talking about BUCAs today. So BUCA is acronym for Blue Cross, United, Humana, and Aetna. Those are four major carriers that sell individual health plans. Humana no longer does it. Actually, they're no longer a part of it, but they'll sell things that are broad networks, which gives access, which people enjoy. But in terms of the transparency, I talked about the cost or reading the doctor's report card. The transparency there's really typically, you're not going to find any. The wide range of costs I highlighted there, and just limited information in some instances when you try to do some research. Those are some problems there. Those are some challenges that need to be addressed here. So I'm going to talk about how we address those things here. We were a fully insured health district, so meaning that we would buy health insurance and we'd turn over a monthly paycheck that was about, I should say, a payment of premium that was about $600,000 a month. And then the health carrier we worked with would receive that money, and then they would pay all of our claims. The risk and the reward was theirs. Okay, so whether that was enough money to cover our claims or not, that was their risk. But we flipped that at the beginning of 23-24, and we became a self-insured school district. And it's not a traditional health plan, a self-insured plan. It's something that some people might call self-insured 2.0 or smart self-insured. So I'm going to share what those things mean and how we use those, and share a couple components. Just talking about our school district, we have 700 employees, about 500 full-time and 200 part-time. Those 500 employees, full-time employees, you can see how they elect their health coverage and the cost of coverage. So if you choose a family plan, that's an all-in cost of $22,600. The district pays 88% of that, and the employee pays the other 12% through their payroll deductions. You can see the cost of a single, and if somebody were to say, I decline the offer of health, there's a $3,000 payment. So there's somewhat of an incentive to decline. It helps us control our costs there. But when we take a look at our full budget here, salaries and benefits, we're a people-driven industry. If you want good teachers, it's not like research and development is something that we're not, our enterprise, our business is people, good people. And to do that, you have to pay them and you have to provide good benefits, and that's every employer's challenge. We're no different. But you can see 53% of our budget's in salaries, and almost 9% is in health insurance in particular. So those are the two biggest line items. And those are the two that are going to, that you got to pay attention to. The inflation that is tacked onto health insurance makes that the most explosive line item. For salaries in the state of Wisconsin, CPI, the Consumer Price Index, is defined by the Wisconsin Department of Revenue, kind of dictates where salaries are going to go for teachers unions. And that at least brings some ability to predict where that's going. But health insurance, it's the inflationary pressure is wild, 20-30%. The medical trend is tough. So that line item is tough, and we're going to talk about how we control that. Prior to Act 10, every school district was purchasing their healthcare through WEA Health. And then at that point, after Act 10, school boards were at least given the ability to find comparable products, and they could shop around. But you can see that essentially we would find a full insured health carrier in year one. They'd give us a 2-year deal. Year one, here's your rate. Year two, we'll give you a rate cap. And then year three, it's, open market, right? So you can see We join somebody, we date for 2 years and then we move on. We find a new partner, date them for 2 years and then move on.